Good evening, everybody. Thank you again, and welcome to another edition of my weekly presentation called Legal Ease, where we discuss issues that pertain to people that have been hurt in accidents, whether they be motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls. And in this particular case, we're going to be talking about health insurance. So that's going to not just address things that happen by accident, but actually things that could happen to us naturally as well. People get sick. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so that's an area. Health insurance is very, very important to us right now. If you like the content that you hear on this presentation, please feel free to smash that like button and comment and share below. Certainly appreciate your comments and your criticisms. I often base entire segments of my show on questions that my audience asks me. But we have a very special guest with us this evening. Today we have Catherine, or Cat Medel, and Catherine is with Better Insure It. She is a licensed insurance broker. She has been in the health insurance industry for over 18 years and is a health and wellness educator. Catherine, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chris. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, it's certainly great to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in the insurance industry?
It started back in Kentucky, where I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky. I began to work for Humana Military as a contractor. And Humana's always had the contract with the government for TRICARE, the military's insurance. So I started working there, and they moved me to Florida about 10 years ago and all around different areas. So I've worked at many of the bases and different offices, helping run those offices for the military. So I've had a lot of experience with that. I was there with them about 12 years, and moving around in Florida, I've learned a lot, and I love this state anyway. So I went from that to working with a private doctor company as their credentialing and contracting manager, and learned much more about insurance even at that point. I dealt with Medicare tremendously. And after a few years, I decided that I wanted to get my license so I could help people. So it's basically been about 18 years of experience that I've had in this industry. And I really love helping people to understand this crazy train, as I call it, of insurance.
Well, it's great that you do that. People really need that information. It's one of the reasons I do my show, is to try to be instructive, try to give people the information, and try to save them a lot of complication and heartache if some event were to trigger the need for my services or for your services. Obviously, right. Of course, yours are necessary before something triggers, whereas mine are necessary after something triggers. Exactly. Well, tell us something nice. So you're a licensed insurance broker. What is required to become a licensed insurance broker?
You have to take many classes and study for quite a while, take exams in order to get certified and licensed as an insurance agent. And you definitely have to pass the test, but they do give you opportunities. If you don't pass the first time, they'll give you a few more. But it's a lot of studying, and it's not just that. Then you have to go to each state to get certified, and you have to do some training and testing with each state that you decide to be licensed in, because actually insurance is not federal, it is state ran, because each state has an insurance commissioner, and that's what we have to go through, and that's the hoops and everything that we have to jump through, which I think is wonderful. And then we have to take continuing education classes, many certifications. Anytime things change, we have to do that to keep up. That's exactly what they require for medical doctors, any type of physicians, any type of medical healthcare people. So we have to do that too in order to keep up with things. So it's a process.
Well, that's great. And now, how many different states are you licensed to transact business in?
I am licensed in about 20 different states right now.
Wow, 20 states. So you can do business with residents of 20 states.
Absolutely. I'm considered licensed in Florida, and when I get the license in the other states, you're a non-resident licensed agent.
Okay, I understand. So Now, in addition to health insurance, what other products are you licensed to deal in?
Well, the company Better Insurance, we are from cradle to the grave, as we say. We work with ages 0 to 100 or more. We do under 65 healthcare insurance with many insurance companies. We do Medicare and supplements, Advantage, anything to do with Medicare. And then we also work with life insurance companies. And we have long-term care policies, critical illness policies, the final expense policies, even to annuities we can do.
Yeah, the final expense policies are a little creepy. I get emails every once in a while from those companies, and it's like, oh,
Right.
I don't want to think about that now. That's creepy, but
Oh,
I
it's
guess it's
things people
necessary.
don't want to talk about. Absolutely. They don't want to
No,
talk about
no.
it.
Don't want to talk about wills. Don't want to talk about burial insurance, all that stuff.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
no. That's fantastic. And, it's interesting because, indicating that, life, health insurance rather, is sort of a creature of the states. Now, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Affordable Care Act. Now, there's a federally passed act that is
Right.
meant to apply to each of the 50 states. However, each of those states has to do business with its citizens through an exchange, correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
There
And who
is,
said,
there's, I'm
well,
sorry, there's the federal marketplace, and then there are also state-based marketplaces. So that's the reason why, like you're asking about.
and so who sets up the marketplace in the state?
The state government works with the federal government in making sure that they're correct in putting all of the information out the correct way it's supposed to be done. But then they will make sure that it fits the needs that the state, the insurance commissioner, and all of the other members of the state legislation, the way they need to set it up for people.
Now, what is the marketplace exactly?
Well, the marketplace is for health insurance. It's known by many names. A lot of people, it's known Health Insurance Exchange, Affordable Care Act, the ACA. It's also Obamacare. A lot of people refer to it still. But it's a place where people that don't have any healthcare insurance maybe, or they want to change to something different, they can go and just find information about it. And they have options there that they can look at. Then they can also sign up for the healthcare insurance on those platforms. Information's also found regarding eligibility. Like if you need help with paying your premiums, or reducing out-of-pocket costs with the subsidy now, that's still in place through the Obamacare. So each year the marketplace has an open enrollment period, and that is from November the 1st through December the 15th. However, this year through the Biden administration, and because of COVID, they're calling it a special enrollment period for COVID. They feel like people probably didn't get a chance to really do what they might need to do. People might not have been able to get in at all before that time period. So they've reopened back up the marketplace as of February the 15th. And through May the 15th, people can still get in there and apply, or they can go back and look at and changing what they want, or, getting out of what they may have signed up for, in the fall or the winter. They can still go into that now. And
Have you
that's
experienced?
what I'm doing. I'm helping people with that.
Have you experienced that a decent amount of people, a respectable amount of people have understand that the open enrollment's been extended for 3 more months? Have people been taking advantage of it, or are we still trying to get the word out?
They're still trying to get the word out, and I am doing the same thing through marketing and networking. But most people that pay attention at all to the news, they know that this was happening again, and actually it is getting busier and busier. So, like I said, that was started February 15th, and now we're in first part of March. So it's beginning to be where more and more people are wanting to check it out and see if that's something they want.
Oh, very good. So, give me an example of some options that might be available to, say, a family that needs to visit the marketplace during this open enrollment period? What might be available to a family that needs insurance?
Well, sometimes when I have a client, a potential client call, they'll ask me if there are options for them, and I always give them different tips. I will tell them, make sure that you look at the policy coverage. Make sure that you're going to have some flexibility. If you need to add family members at different times, make sure you're able to do that. You look for flexibility in checking waiting period clauses as well. Make sure that you don't go in there expecting to, oh, I need to go get some kind of surgery type thing done next week, because there's always clauses in the most insurances. And then you also want to check your co-payments so that you know exactly when you're going to go into a doctor's office what you will be paying. A good thing to do is also choose a plan that's got a lifetime renewability, meaning that sometimes you can run across different in smaller insurance companies and plans, and you might be only allowed to have it for a year, and you don't realize that. But I just always tell people, be aware of the things basically that you need for your family. What is it that you want? Make sure your doctors are in that network with the insurance that you're talking to, because if they don't check it and you don't know, then you may not be happy if you can't have your doctors in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you find that for the most part that people that shop the marketplace are able to find these things, find a plan that works for them, that lets them have the care that they want with the doctors they want?
It does seem to, and when a lot of times people don't understand insurance, and they say it drives them crazy, and that's one of the reasons why we've hit the point where people will just choose something like with an employer when they're been given a choice during their open enrollment time, or if they have to go into the marketplace, they get so frustrated at trying to figure out what it says. So this is like you were telling, I am an educator. That's what I do. I'm going to educate people so that even if they choose something different, next time they'll know what to ask for. They'll know what to be looking for. So that's why I educate people, make sure they understand this.
Yeah, it's interesting because I see it a lot in my business, and I'm sure you see it in yours as well, that, I really take my job as a source of information, as a counselor and educator, very seriously, because at the end of the day, we can't make the decision for our clients. They have to make the decisions. But I guess our job is to make sure that they make the most completely educated decision that they could make, because that's in their best interest. And I definitely appreciate the fact that you take the time with people. And I've known you a long time, and I know that that's actually the case. Interesting. We have a visitor here. We have Terry Dunnique is tuned in. Hey, Terry, thanks for watching.
Hi, Terry.
Thanks for tuning in. That's great. Now, you talked about choices, and with as many insurance companies as there are today, how do you choose? I mean, how do you choose an insurance company that's going to be the right insurance company for you?
Well, that is a very good question, Chris, because that's just what I was talking about a minute ago. People get so frustrated because they don't know what to do. And one of the things, when people go out and type in Google, looking for healthcare insurance, then they get bombarded because there are so many insurance companies out there, so many agents. And unfortunately, we have a lot of scammers, a lot of just telemarketers that they're not even licensed. And a lot of people get taken. And then a lot of people get frustrated because their phones are being blown up or texts from these type of things. So a lot of things that I tell people when they call me, I give them some advice on how to cut back on that, or what to do to make sure they don't constantly get these type of calls. Many people that's got health insurance like through an employer. Well, if the job doesn't provide health insurance, then they can shop on the marketplace and they can purchase it, or they can purchase it through private exchange, like someone like myself, who's a broker, independent broker, or they can go directly with an insurer. They can directly call someone from Blue Cross Blue Shield or United HealthCare, one of the big, the huge companies. They can always do that. But, with looking at insurance companies and different types of plans, they really need to be looking at what type of plans they want to do. They need to make sure they have, they can look at whether they have HMO, PPO, EPO, and POS. Now, I know that just makes your mind go, wait a minute, what? People don't exactly. They don't know a lot of these terms many times, but HMO is a means of health maintenance organization. It's where you have lower out-of-pocket costs, but there's going to be less freedom to choose your providers.
You're going to be more restricted. Your primary care is going to have to script you out for doctors. Exactly. But in a PPO, that's not the case, correct?
No. And that's when I was with the military, I used to explain to these people to try to make it simplified for them. I said, you have to look at it this way. HMO, I said, you're going to be managed. They're going to tell you what to do, where to go, how to go do it, and everything. I said, with a PPO, it's freedom. You have total freedom. It's called Preferred Provider Organization. You've got a lot more provider options, no referrals whatsoever. However, you do have higher out-of-pocket costs most of the time with that. But again, it's a freedom, so it's going to cost you a little more. The other one's called EPO, Exclusive Private Organization. POS is Point of Service Plan. So these are the 4 plans that you can choose from. So this is what's going to set your provider network for you and make a decision. How do I want this done? With the EPO and POS, there's usually lower out-of-pocket costs for them. You have referrals required with some not. But on those, you've got a lot less doctors that are in there, and they jump in and out a lot of times. So someone can get one of those, and 2 or 3 months down the road, they'll get a letter from the insurance company saying, "Oh, your provider has changed," and then they have to switch over to that. Wow. So I always tell people, compare the plan health networks, the out-of-pocket costs, and the health plan benefits, and that makes it easier for people to start realizing how to break it down for that to work for them in that way.
Now, my understanding is, based upon changes in the law, the penalty for not carrying insurance no longer exists. You're no longer penalized for that under the law. So if people don't carry insurance, they don't have to worry about having that $500 penalty assessed against them.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's also made people decide, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to get penalized. I'm not going to have insurance. And people don't look at that, having insurance, just like you've talked about, other people have talked about. That's not the reason why you get insurance.
Absolutely. So I'm somebody that has really never had to take out a policy of insurance. I've been on my parents' insurance. I'm fresh out of college now. I'm no longer eligible to be on their policies. I don't have a lot of money, and I'm kind of afraid to do anything, but I need insurance. So what are the first steps that an uninitiated person can take?
They should contact someone they trust, first of all, or someone that refers them to someone that will help them, because them being young, they're not going to understand any of this. Like you said, they've been on their parents' insurance. They've never had to ask. They've never thought about it. But what choices they can have is sometimes there's something, if they're very healthy especially, and they're just trying to find something so that they can be covered with accidents, or to make sure that they can get their physicals done if they're in college and they have to do these type of things. And colleges do require them to have types of insurance when they are in school.
Not a bad idea.
But they have choices. I mean, there's things that they can work with an agent that can find something that they can afford. And again, it goes back to what works for you. That's what it is. What is it that's going to work for you? What are you looking for?
When I went to college, I remember something would happen. We'd go to the infirmary, but those are for minor things. I don't think that's going to be much of a one size fits all for college students.
Now, they end up in the ER, they're going to have a big bill.
Now, one of the things I know that you know a lot about is Medicare. Now, the way I experience Medicare mostly is that in auto cases, the no fault paradigm in Florida relies upon the permissive fee schedule of charges, which would be 200% of Medicare Part B, so 80% of Medicare, 200% of Medicare Part B. But what is Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B? What are those fee schedules?
Well, you're speaking of the fee schedules. Actually, all the insurance companies go by that fee schedule. They're just given a little more leniency in some ways or another. But technically, all of the insurance has to follow Medicare's fee schedules in order to be fair, basically, with everyone. But when you talk about Part A and Part B, a lot of people don't understand that. They have this thought of, well, I've been working since I was 16 years old. I'm paying into Medicare. Well, boy, when I get 65, I'm set. I've got my health care and everything set, and it's not like that. There's a lot that's been taken away out of Medicare for the last 10, 15 years, and people don't understand it because you do still have a lot of payments that you have to make. So the Part A, the Part A, that is the part that is going to cover the hospital and the hospital only. It's Medicare Part A and Part B together is called Original Medicare. So the Part A is going to cover that, and then people have to purchase the Part B in order to pay for doctor visits, anything that's a preventive service, lab tests, medical equipment, supplies, anything that's not hospital, in other words.
So that's going to be through like your Medicare third party payers?
Well, actually, again, like I said, it's Part A and B is called Original Medicare. So you can sign up for the Part B, but you have to pay for it. But if you get signed up for that, that is through the government still. Okay. You still go through that. The Part B is not with the private. What you're talking about is adding a supplement or a Medicare Advantage. That's when you go, that's the part that's been put out to the private sector. And that's why people can choose, all kinds of different carriers, Humana, United HealthCare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, some of the smaller companies like Molina, Bright, Oscar, those type, Ambetter, those kind. They all are into the Medicare part now where you can get supplements through them. Now, the supplements, they're all the same across the board. So there's no difference in that part when you choose an insurance company. It's just basically going to be the cost is what you're choosing when it comes to supplements. But like I said, Part A and B, a lot of people don't understand that. And you're also penalized if you don't sign up for the Part B if you're not working anymore. If you're still working, you can go through your employer, still use that insurance, and then your Medicare A is there to take care of hospital things, and your employer insurance takes care of the rest of it. And then you're not penalized when you decide to retire and sign up for Part B. So it's a lot of things people don't know. That's the reason why they should talk to someone for sure and not just take it that they know what they're going to have.
Well, every time I talk to you, I learn something I didn't know. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, we called it donut holes in the Medicare A and B original because you're going to be putting out money. And that's why people usually need to get a supplement or the Medicare Advantage in order to help cover those holes. And then you're not paying out of your pocket every time you go to a doctor or have to go to a facility.
Do you know of any scenario that's kind of
person?
Do you know of any scenario that's like donut hole foolproof? I mean, or is there always going to be things you're going to have to come out of pocket for?
The donut hole proof was there up until January of 2020. And they took it away. You know how the government, they like to name things at Medicare, like the Medicare Part A, Part B. Well, it goes all the way up through P, I believe now. So each different thing represents a part of the Medicare. One of those pieces covered every single thing you paid you would pay the cost for your supplement, and basically that's all you had to pay. Now, it did not cover long-term care, but you have to get those as policies. But it was out there and it covered everything. Well, they took it away in January 2020 because, again, like I said, they come along and they decide, where are we going to make cuts for the budget or cuts for the government? Oh, let's go to Medicare. And that's what they do. They come in and start chopping that away. So now people are back to, no matter which one of these they choose, they're still having to put out some money, and they're also having to pay for their Part B, where it was covered before and they didn't have to pay for it.
Well, thank goodness there are people like you out there to help them along. Yeah, obviously, if the government isn't doing anyone any favors, we're sort of having to fend for ourselves a little bit. You know, the plans like the Affordable Care Act are great things. They're great starts, but the states have to adopt them. They have to cooperate with them and not be obstructive. You know, it seems like it could work, but you know, and helping people navigate. Well, that's great. Thank you so much, Kat, for coming tonight. I think we've kind of run out of time, but you covered some excellent material, and it's very, very informative, and people really need that. And you know, it's great to have you on the show. Finally, to have you here, it's really great. You know, that's fantastic, and thank you very much once again. So, folks, that's it for this evening. And if you like what you heard, once again, smash that like button. Feel free to share or like or comment below. Appreciate your comments and your criticisms. And thank you again. And we'll see you next week, where we will be talking to Dr. Dale Hansen. He is a local chiropractor, and he's going to discuss chiropractic care in how it relates to injuries sustained in motor vehicle accidents. So look forward to seeing you next week. Kat, thanks again, and have a great week, everyone.